Just getting set up here, kids. Hey, Ed, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Sunstar. So Brenda, how's things going in Florida? Good, I hope. Minute, I gotta put the little screen up over here. Uh, okay, so I uh I went and got a ship this morning, Brenda. Yep. Yeah, I haven't got it posted yet, but I did get a ship. I'd like to thank those of you that have joined this morning. I don't know whether you're off watching another channel or what, but your participation is greatly appreciated on my end. So I guess it's Sunday, so I guess I better fill up my Mia's pill for the week. Yeah, she gets all her pills in this here. My fingers are a little bit slippy this morning, so okay. So that's the big pills. That's the gabapentin for pain for Mia. Then she gets half a pill every day. of thyroid tabs for her thyroid. And then she also gets, I'm probably going to have to get a refill on, Apoquil, getting down towards the bottom. She gets one of these a day. All right, Johnny Drone Flyer can do his thing. I'm sure that's probably where Captain Joe is. They are good friends. Which is all right. I don't have any claim to um, a time spot because I'm on every day at the same time. And if somebody wants to go against the grain, they can go against the grain. That's fine. Just it's what makes everybody happy. Hey Lance, how you doing, my friend? How are things out there in Washington State? Good, I hope. Did you it was raining the other day, you said. Is it still raining or no? Oh no, actually Mia takes more pills than I do. Um, here's Mia's bundle of pills. Okay. Good morning, Skyfly. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Give you guys a little preview of my ship that I got this morning. This is unedited. This is just straight out of the drone. No music, no nothing, just straight out of the drone. This is the Algoma Innovator. It's pretty beat up, but it goes places a lot of the bigger ships don't go. And so it gets its share of the scrapes and dings and everything. And also, some of the shipping companies don't take care of their ships as much as others. As you can see, some of the rust here on different things, they would have painted the white, not rust, you know. But then again, you know, to each their own. Like right here, you got rust right here. Rust here. Some companies have more pride in their ships than others. We're supposed to get snow starting here pretty soon. Not looking forward to that, but it is what it is. Like I say, this is all raw footage. I haven't run it through any programs or that's just straight out of the drone. "38 degrees there, huh, Lance? All right. Well, that's okay. You know, I understand. I come here for my regulars that want me to be here, expect me to be here, so I'm here. But doesn't mean that they have to join, or if they want to go anywhere else or they got something else to do, fine. I understand. But what's new with you, Dusty? Anything? Or is it just another Sunday? Russell, okay. So this is we cater to all those that feel they don't have a life. Okay. Whatever reason, you're always welcome here. There's a little bit of ice on the river, not quite as filled with ice as it was the other day. Mia, you gotta go outside. Come on, Mia. Come on. Hey. Right. Hi. Bye. Oh, well. Mia did have to go outside. I thought maybe she was playing games with me. Jim, how's it going? We're just kind of hanging here. I went and did a ship early this morning and it it was the Algoma Innovator, and it was pretty much almost looked like it's ready to be scrapped, but maybe they painted up over the winter season. I see all my little squirrel buddies are looking for nuts. Let me take care of them real quick. Oh, we'll tell you what, we're gonna decide whether or not we're gonna call it at 9:30. How's that? Skyfly, how you doing? No, I haven't heard from Paul Hodges at all. I hope he's doing fine. He pretty much moved on. His business is busy, and he's taken in his new girlfriend and her kids and family and everything. They're not living with him, but I think he's taken the father figure for them, for the kids. East Coast Thrills, yeah, we'll give it time. Let me take a look and see if there are any ships inbound or outbound. Nothing, 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 nothing anywhere. Anybody would like to join the panel, just up at the top of the chat list, just click on that, just come right in. You can either come on with voice and sound, with video, or just with your audio version. Yeah, Russell, I get it. Here comes Lloyd.
Hang on a second. I gotta
Hey, Lloyd, how's it going?
going good.
Lance?
Figure out my.
Guys,
Let me
can
get
you
this.
hear me okay?
There we go. Oh, where'd I go?
Can you hear me
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, Lance, we hear you.
Okay. I'll have to switch here in a minute. I'm gonna go get gas. So I'll be logging off my computer and I'll log back into my phone. But that'll be about 10 minutes.
All right.
So I'll stick around for 10 minutes and then I'll catch you on the road.
Okay.
So Lloyd, my mesh comes in today. It was supposed to come in tomorrow, but it looks like it's gonna be here today. So
Oh, awesome. I
and
think you'll be happy with it. Everything's said and done.
yeah. And of course my daughter and my wife are sitting in the family room where we don't get reception, and they're
Right.
both on their phone yesterday. It's like, I thought you guys didn't get reception here, and they said, well, sometimes we do, and they were
Right.
it's
Yeah, it's
like,
always that way.
yeah, oh crap, I just bought this thing and now we might not need it, but
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I mean, for what you got that for, that's not a bad price. So, and it will, because although it may be working for them, it may have been working yesterday, but today or tomorrow might not be, and then you'll be right back and having to do the same thing. So err on the side of
exactly.
caution,
And it'll increase speed no matter what. I mean,
Hello,
Yeah.
Mark.
oh, look at that Krispy Kreme. Not a Krispy Kreme. What are they called?
Boston cream.
Boston cream.
Yeah.
Boston cream.
Good morning, Mark, or
Hi,
evening
Paul.
for you.
Lance. Well, it's
Hey, Mark.
mid-afternoon.
Okay.
It's about 2:30.
So, when you got up yesterday, did you ever find those camera mounts?
What for? I still haven't found me. What's it? I've only been up about an hour. Hell, it was 5 o'clock when I went to bed. It was 5 o'clock when we finished the stream.
Yeah.
I know where me Osmo 6 mobile is, but it's the last time I had a look at it the other week, it wasn't holding the phone straight.
Huh.
For some
Well,
unknown reason, it kept tipping forward. So I'll have another go at it.
okay. Yeah, because you've got it. You might as well be using it.
I've had it all day.
Yeah.
I've also got the Mobile 3 as well.
Yeah, well, I think the 6 would be better because it's more self-balancing, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
But I've got Care Refresh on it, so if it don't work, I'll send it back.
There you go.
Only £6 a year for Care Refresh on that.
Yeah, I get Care Refresh on everything I can.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a place to go to lunch after we're going to the LeMay Car Museum at 10 o'clock this morning. A couple buddies. We're
Oh,
gonna go have
okay.
lunch afterwards. And there's a real
Huh.
cool tavern right on Pacific Avenue in Tacoma, but I
Right.
forget the name of it, so I'm looking for it. Okay.
Ah,
It's right
Well-
next to the gun range.
Just look on Google Maps; it will tell you.
Well, and I don't remember the name of the place.
yeah, but you know the area you're wanting to look at though, right?
Exactly, and I'm zooming in and looking to see if I can
Yeah.
see it. But there's like a gun range right next door. I know that. I'll find it. And my buddies probably know they're Tacoma guys, so they'll know what I'm talking about.
Hello to everybody in the chat. I forgot I was being rude this morning, I guess. Didn't say hi to anybody. Skyfly Network, hello.
Burn Liner Beer Hall. Is that it? Can't tell.
Hello, Jim. And let's see who else. Oh, see Brenda's there.
Well, we're actually 3 degrees centigrade today. And
Oh.
Alfred Cafe.
it feels colder than when it was below zero yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, there's football on today, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's either 2 or 3 games today.
Right.
So you guys see me fly here every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
And I take off usually right here and I'll fly, and then I get some hyper lapse in this
Now,
area.
how far is that away from your house?
Let me show you my kind of where I live here.
And hello, Edward.
There is the Tacoma Dome right there. I live
Yeah, Joe. I knew where you were at.
over here. So let me right click. As the crow flies, it is.
You got to go across the bridge or anything, or?
Oh yeah, so to get there, I've got to like wind down through here, go through here, get on this guy right here, come here,
Mhm.
and then here. But as the crow flies, it is 6 miles. Six
Oh,
and a half.
okay.
But-
Yeah, Paul, there's Denver versus Buffalo at 1 o'clock your time. Then Green Bay versus the Eagles at 4:30 your time. And then there's Washington versus Tampa Bay at 8 o'clock.
Okay. So it's three major games today then.
Yep.
So
Well,
roughly to drive it, Paul, it's 20 miles, but it's 6 miles as the crow flies.
6 miles air miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to go all the way around.
Yeah.
Now, was that island there originally there, or does that man-made island right there?
This here, this is originally here, and it's the port of Tacoma, and there used to be a bridge right here, went all the way through, and this is the 11th Avenue that I show you guys a lot,
Okay.
and that's how I
Okay.
used to get to work. But
Hmm.
about 30 years ago, they took this bridge down, so now you can't go any further than this, or if you're going this way, you can't get any further than that.
Was
So
it an
they-
old bridge and decrepit, or just?
No, they needed to let ships get through here, and the bridge that was there was not. I don't think it was.
It wasn't a very tall bridge.
Yeah, and so they just said, you know what, we're going to tear it up, and then they built this freeway right here, and it's kind of a highway freeway, 509. And now, so when they built that, that's when they tore that down. That was about 35 years ago. So, like I said, I used to go through to get this to work this way because this did not exist. And then they built that, and
Right.
obviously this. So this bridge here is only used really for people that have to work on the what you would call the island, Paul, but it's
Okay.
kind of the industrial place. So really, that bridge isn't used very often. You know, there were hundreds of thousands of not, I don't know, there were a lot of cars that used to drive by when this was open. But when this closed, it really slowed traffic down.
So you've seen a lot of changes.
Yes. In fact, the port of Tacoma was very polluted. There was an Asarco smelter, and I was telling I was talking to Lloyd the other day on the phone, and there was an Asarco smelter, and they think that contributed to the highest number of MS cases in the United States is Tacoma, and the highest state in the United States for MS is Washington State.
Wow.
And we think it, you know, they think it might be that Asarco smelter that was in Tacoma that maybe polluted, you know, gave the, I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but that's what they're speculating.
Yeah. There's a lot of, cause like when I was in the service, of course, I was handling depleted uranium rounds, which didn't help. Plus I spent a lot of time out in the Nevada, uh, out near, out China Lake area, working on weapon systems, testing them. And then, also in Grand Junction, where I went to high school at, or from ninth grade on, that was one of the biggest deposits of uranium at the time. And all those mill tailings are there. So all of those different things have all played into, is like I think there's like, I think the guy the other day or last week, a couple weeks ago, told me, I think there's up to 10 people in our graduating class, and it was a small high school, that have MS now. Oh,
Yeah. I lived in China Lake when I was a kid. My dad was Navy.
yeah, yeah.
And you were Marines, Lloyd?
No, Air Force. Joe
Air-
was in the Marines. I was Air Force.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, guys, hey, I'm going to jump off here. I'll get on my phone in a little bit when I get in the car.
Okay,
I gotta go get
Lance.
gas.
All right.
I'll be
Okay,
back.
then.
I'm sure one of us will be here.
Maybe.
I'd woke up about, I don't know, 7:15. I thought, well, I'm just gonna lay here for a few minutes. The next thing I know, I'm waking up and it's like 8:15. And I thought, well, I fell back asleep.
I find out that I only sleep for about 3 or 4 hours at a time.
That's the way I am.
And
Yeah.
so, I get some really wacky dreams. Which, you know, I'm protected because after an hour after waking up, I knew I had a dream, but I don't remember it, you know.
Right, right. Do you happen to know why they have taken down the American flag and also Canadian flag by the bridge on Canada's side across from ours, which is flying in the breeze with pride?
Yes, Jim, it's all, there's 30 days of mourning for President that passed.
Yeah, for Jimmy Carter.
For President Carter.
Yeah.
So he died on what, the
30th or
30th, I think. Yep. So there's 30 days. So the flags will stay at half mast until the 30th of January. Well, there isn't a 30 days in January.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. There
Yeah,
it is.
January's got 31 days.
It's
Yeah.
February's got 29.
February's only got 28. Yeah.
Well, 30 days would put it to the 29th, wouldn't it? Because there's 31 days in.
Yeah. Let's see.
And as far as the Canadian flag being flown at half mast, that's kind of like an international. You don't fly another country's flag higher than the country that you're in.
Yeah.
And it's all in honor of Jimmy Carter.
So are they flying them at half mast or have they taken them down completely?
No, they're half mast.
Yeah, there it has. It probably go back up on the 30th of this month.
Yeah.
As the 30th day is the 29th, if I counted right. So yeah, the 30th they go back up to full staff or full mass.
Yeah, because right now all the flags in Washington are at half mast too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everywhere. I was watching one of the proceedings and and they had live chat going and somebody, there's always the complainers, the gripers. And one guy's going on, well, I don't understand. We got people who died overseas, defending this country, and they're giving it, and they've done a lot more than this president, and I wrote back up with just simple one line. Let's not forget, he's a World War II Navy veteran.
Yeah.
And that shut him up real quickly. Oh, because young people don't look at that stuff. They go with their gut instinct. They don't actually take the time to figure out who is this guy. Now he's never saw combat action, even though he was in both the World War II and Korean War.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he did, and that's another reason why Canada probably would have it. There was a nuclear catastrophe up in Canada, and they sent his submarine, or maybe he wasn't on the submarine by then, I can't remember, but they sent them up to Canada to help deal with the they had to take all the rods out because the water had ruptured the container where they keep it keeps the rods cool. They could only go down there for like, I don't know, a minute at a time. And so everybody, pitched in, of course, because he had the understanding because he was part of the nuclear submarine program, and that's what he learned. So he actually went down in that. They lowered him down in there with his hazmat suit on. Basically, they'd grab a rod and they'd pull him back out, or they'd break, he'd start breaking one loose so it could be pulled out by the next guy that came down. So radiation didn't hurt him. He lived to be 100. So
yeah,
yeah,
he was 100 years old.
yeah.
Was he one of the oldest living presidents?
He was the oldest.
Yeah, the oldest ever.
Oldest that ever. Yeah, oldest ever lived. Yeah, he lived longer than any other president.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him. Looks like he was in a wheelchair, and it looks like he was coming out of a helicopter. They were wheeling him out, but he looked 100. I mean, it was sad.
Yeah, he definitely.
100's a long time.
He was worn out.
Yeah, he was.
Worn out. he was ready. The image that I saw, I thought that's
Now his wife was Jocelyn
Rosalind.
Roslyn.
Yeah.
She died several years ago, didn't she?
yeah,
No.
she did.
Was it several? Has it been? How long has it been? I thought it
I
was
don't know
just
how long, but she died before him. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
she died. I was just thinking that, like, within the last year. Let's see.
I bet someone in the chat could Google that.
I'm doing it now as we speak.
Oh, okay.
Just had to, let's see. Uh, yeah, she died. She died in 2023. Let's
How old was
see.
she?
She was 96. She died November 19th, 2023. So right at a year, just a little bit over a year. He died in December of 24, and she died at the age of 96 in November of 23. So just a month over.
A year and a month. Wow.
Yep.
Well, that just shows that long life, eat more peanuts, right?
Yeah.
Eat more
Yeah.
peanuts.
Well, you know, I've had people tell me that if you feel your sugar levels are going up or whatever, you're having especially if you're borderline diabetic, a spoonful of peanut butter will bring it right down.
That's what I do when my hypoglycemia kicks in. I go in there and grab a spoonful of peanut butter.
Yeah,
That's why a lot of people keep like those little peanut butter crackers, in a pack.
right.
They'll keep them in there because those things will last forever. But they keep them in their console there, and they can just eat a couple of those, and that helps stabilize it until you can get to. Of course, you have to follow that up with, some better food to sustain that level, but that'll get you through in an emergency.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. Jim looked it up too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's January. I can get a year pass at the car museum for $60, or I can go in one time today for 25. And they change out the cars, I don't know, not quite once a month, but so I'm thinking about getting a $60 pass. What do you think?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you have a proclivity to want to go there, even
Yeah,
if you went there 5 or 6 times a year, you're saving money.
So Paul, you're spending my money. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because now I haven't been to a car museum
Hey,
in
Curtis.
40 years, and
I
I
love
haven't been to a
cars.
car show in probably 5 or 10 years. But
I'm not a motorhead like some.
if you're into that, go for it.
Yeah, I'm not a super motorhead, but I like seeing old cars fixed up though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know a spark plug from a rotor. I'm kidding, but I'm not a
Right.
guy
Yeah.
that digs under the hood. I used to when I was a kid, when we had a straight, a 216, straight six, and I knew what I was doing. But now
Right.
it's so darn
Oh, yeah.
computerized that,
Computerized. Yes.
but I had a 50 Chevy truck that had a straight six. It was a 216 engine, and
Yeah.
puttered right along. It was a granny tranny, so
Yeah.
I first gear did, ran about 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
It was for pulling logs out of tree stumps out of the ground, basically.
That was a Chevy.
That was a Chevy.
Yeah.
And then I had a 49 Chevy Deluxe, the car. and
Mhm.
that was a 3 on the tree. And
Right.
it was a push button starter well before the fobs that are out now, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I would all my buddies loved that car because they thought that was so cool that you push the button to start the car,
Yep.
and they loved my back seat too. So they always wanted to double date with me. So they were making out with their girl in the back seat as I was driving them around.
Well, that was back in the days you used to go to the drive-in movies for a date, you know?
Yep. We would hide in the trunk.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
People in the trunk, and we'd all split it, save ourselves a couple bucks.
Yeah, we had. I'm going to have to look it up because I'm not sure. I drove a '61 Chevy with straight six, but it didn't have the step size like they usually did. It had the had those smooth straight fleet side,
Okay.
and it had the granny gear like you said. You know, it was a little workhorse,
Yes.
and let's see, what did I?
My 50 Chevy was a 5 window, you know, so it had the corner windows,
Right.
and that was like that truck to get.
You know, and little wing windows that they put in them back then.
Yep.
Well, my dad, he was a tobacco chewer. He chewed Copenhagen or Skoal or whatever, usually Copenhagen. And those windows were just right. He'd take and turn them out, and then he'd lean forward and he'd spit out that window, and he was pretty good at it. That's why we all fought to not sit behind him in the back seat, because in the summertime you want to roll your windows down, but you took a chance. So you sat there with your window up. And it's like, so yeah,
That's funny.
that's what I remember about those wing windows.
Well, see, I'm not old enough to remember the rumble seats, but those were popular, what, the 20s and 30s and 40s?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see a couple of those today. We'll see. I think it might be the Japanese cars this month. I don't know for sure. My buddy was saying that he thought it was the Japanese vehicles, but we'll see when we get there. And I don't know if it's the whole thing, but he says it's a good 1.5 mile walk up and down and around, and which will be
Right.
good exercise for both of us as well. And then my other buddy is going to show, and they're headed to the ocean, so his wife will pick him up down there, and they'll take off from there. Both my buddies are close to retirement. In fact, one is the guy that's going to the ocean. He and his wife are retired, and then my other buddy, they're college buddies. He's semi-retired, and he's older than both of us. He's a couple years older than us, but he says he likes to work. I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And then his wife's younger than my wife, and she's a teacher as well. And she's, you know, she if she could, she would retire, but you know, she's like, you know, with her husband, we need to retire. But
Well, I think it all depends, Lance, is if you have a life, if you like to do other things, then get into retirement right away. But if you're gonna just retire and sit at home and watch TV, no.
yeah, I want to travel.
You're gonna get a motorhome or anything, or what?
Can I take your order, please?
Hi, what can I get for you?
Do you have the 2 for $3 still?
Yeah.
I'll take the, you don't have it up there. I don't know, what is it, sausage muffin? 2 of those.
2 sausage muffin?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Where is window 331?
I'll let you know what gas is up here. It's going to be about 320, I think. But I stopped at my breakfast spot here. I'm gonna grab breakfast before I go get this.
Now, what do you get? Breakfast burritos or sandwiches?
Sausage, a sausage muffin.
Muffin, okay.
And I'm gonna fly from a different spot Wednesday morning at the Space Needle. I'm gonna fly from the I'm gonna launch from the west side so I can see the skyscraper easier.
Thank you.
Thank you. When I fly from the east side, I'm gonna fly over to the west side, and I'm a little apprehensive for my drone to fly. You know, it's only 1,800 feet or 1,800 feet away, and I can see it easily. But I kind of lost, you know, the connection turned red on me when I was with Angel the other day. And I'm like, I want to launch from the west side.
Hi,
What are you
Jody.
talking about?
Curtis.
Then I'll be closer to the
Hi, Joe.
closer to the needle if I launch from the west side. So
What drone are you talking about?
the Mavic 3. And I'm
How'd you
using
lose connection at 1,800 feet?
exactly. That's what and Angel says it's the RC controller that I use. Which controller do you use, Joe?
The Pro.
See, and I don't use the Pro. I use the RC. You know, that came with the Mini 3.
RC1.
Yeah,
RC1.
yeah, and it
And that
came
might
with,
do
and
it.
people say that doesn't have the range, and
It doesn't
I
have the
would have-
antennas either.
yeah, it doesn't have the antenna, and I would have a little bit of issue with the Mini 3, not bad, and then, but never with the Mavic 3 until I flew the Needle the other day with Angel. Like I said, my bars turned red, and I was a little, I was like, oh crap, I don't, you know. So I'm going to launch from the west side. A buddy of mine gave me a spot to launch from. He said, launch from here. You can still see the drone perfectly, and you'll have the skyscrapers in the background.
Yeah, that might work.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
because
that.
the only time that I've lost any connection with the Mavic 3 was over. I had a direct shot to it too, Lake Pontchartrain, but I was 7,800 feet out, and I didn't lose I lost the video feed. That's all I lost. But I had telemetry because I was bringing the train was going through the bridge, and I'm making a yaw coming back, and all of a sudden I don't have any video feed. It's all scratchy. And I looked down at the telemetry on the side, my numbers were changing. So I said, okay. The first thing I thought, the way it looked like a bird strike. The way it kind of flickered and went out and then just stayed like that. And I looked at my telemetry still going, and I'm still doing everything. So I said, well, you know what? It's coming back this way. I'm going to not move anything because I know what I'm doing. And I left it like that. 56 seconds, I got all my video feedback, and I was doing exactly what I thought I was doing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there's a lot of electronics between me and where I was, you know, that Space
Right.
Needle area. So a lot of buildings. So that
Yeah,
might have
it
been
could be.
part of it. But okay, guys, I'm going to get out and get gas here, so I'm not going to hear anything.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah, because that was before I hadn't lost a drone yet when that happened. I didn't have that crash with the Avata 2. And when that happened, I was thinking, well, there's the Mavic 3 going down, you know? But it was, well, but you can't panic. You got to just, and I found out the first time with the Mini 3 Pro, if you lose connection, and you got to return the home set right, it's best just to leave it off. Let it come back. If it don't come right back to you, then turn it back on and try to find it.
$3.24 a gallon.
Wow. It's
Wow.
267 here.
It was
A couple weeks
3
ago, it was 239.
The year.
A couple of weeks ago, it was 239 and went up to 279 some places.
Now that Trump's in office, they're gonna raise everything.
No, when he signs everything day one, gas by, I'm gonna say gas by the summer. Here is, it's 267 right now, might be $2. Might be under $2. If he gets to do what he wants, and he should. Because the last time he was in office, last time I got gas when he was in office, it was $1.69 a gallon. When Biden took over, it jumped up to 240 something.
Okay. 323. I'm on my way.
I think we're paying about that for a litre.
Yeah, I got it right here. I can tell you exactly the date. Because I keep that on a spreadsheet. They keep it on a spreadsheet. Let's see. Lafayette, Louisiana, 2020, 12/11. December 11th, $1.66 a gallon. 2021, 204, $2.29 a gallon. 60 cents higher. 63 cents higher. And that was 15 days after he took office. Every time I put gas in, I got a record of it. Yeah, the other night I paid $2.75 because I had to get it out in Slidell, and I didn't get it at Sam's or Costco like I usually do.
Yeah, we're paying the equivalent of $1.65 for 1 litre. And I
How
think
much bigger is a liter?
it's 3.8 litres to one of your gallons and 4.5 litres to one of our gallons. So your petrol is a quarter of the price of ours.
Since 2020, December 11th, I've used $3,683.14 in gas. Yeah, on 11/30 last year, it was $2.34 at Sam. That's what I paid for gas. Now it's back up to $2.75.
I think when I started driving back in 1978, I was paying something like 35 pence a gallon.
Right.
I was cheaper than that. Yeah, my first automobile was a 1960 Galaxy 500, like the one on Highway Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it from my cousin's best friend's mom that couldn't drive anymore,
Right.
and we haggled over the price, $275.
Yeah. Yeah.
We haggled over the price. I offered 250, she wanted 275, and I wouldn't do it. And my sister put up the other $25 like that, so I got it for 250 out of my money. And it had a 20-gallon gas tank, and I used to
Mhm.
put premium gas in it, and I'd fill it up for $5.
Yeah.
When
And they
you
were
went
just,
around when you went around a corner, it felt like the back end was coming around in front of you.
yeah, I started driving a 64 Oldsmobile. I think it was either a Super 88 or a Dynamic 88. I know it was all electric. It had air conditioning built in. You know, it was, but
Fancy.
yeah, it was. But those electric windows have, you know, you talking about going to drive-ins and, you know, they like the back seat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went out, a bunch of us went out, and a couple of guys, we were at a rodeo dance, and it's after the rodeo, and it was winter time. These guys all go back out a couple of guys take their girlfriends out there. And then I had to go, somebody, you know, there's so many people there that somebody got blocked in, and I had to move my vehicle around. It wasn't that I had blocked them in, but the vehicle, somebody pulled up in front of them. So, and they couldn't find the owner. So you know, they got all of us out there, and mind you, they're serving beer. So, all of us, you know, guys getting out there, most of us were drunk. Well, they'd fogged up the window so bad that the defroster wasn't even cutting it, you know, and it was just iced over. And so I rolled down my window so I can see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, the damn window wouldn't go back up because it froze in the down position. And we had to ride home in that thing with the window down. And it was
Wow.
it was like 25 degrees at the time. Maybe it might have been colder than that. It could have been closer to 20 or lower. But yeah, that sobered me up real quick.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is what I had right here. Exact same color.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah.
have the white walls though.
right.
Yeah, that thing, and it was my first car. I went in, and the floorboard was just a plastic, no mats or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got me some green shag carpet and put shag carpet all up in there.
Yeah.
And then I put my 8-track tape player
Oh yeah.
and had all that going. And like I said, that thing used to get me. I can't remember the mileage, but it was a fast car, and it was $5 to fill it up with premium gas, 20 cents a gallon.
You guys are a little bit older than me, not a lot, but you guys got in on before the gas crunch. I started driving the year that gas went up, and it was like went up to like 56 cents was what the cheapest I ever paid. And I had a Delta 88, you know, and that's a big old honking Oldsmobile. And that would cost $20 to fill up. But yeah, it was you know, you guys were fortunate that you paid.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember the gas wars.
Oh yeah, I do.
That's when I first started driving, and they would line up to get gas, and it was 19.9 a gallon.
Yeah.
In Denver, there was one place that had gas for 9 cents a gallon, 9.9 for, you know, 9.9 cents a gallon. And then it started slowly drifting back up, and it finally got up to, you know, outrageous price of 25 cents a gallon, you know.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I wish I had that car. Let me tell you an interesting story about that car. When I went to Marine Corps, walking around the base, when we marched around the base, I looked at all the automobiles
Right.
because I was going to buy a car as soon as I got back home. I wasn't going to drive the Galaxy. I wanted a new one. I figured I'm making money. I got a good job and all of this. So I picked out a Chevy Vega. Now don't laugh. It was a good car. It was a real good car, the one I had.
I
had it
bought
for
a
6
Pinto.
years. Yeah. Well, I laugh now. but I traded the Galaxy 500 in, and the person I traded it into was Tom Benson at Mike Persia Chevrolet. He's the one that owned the Saints later on.
Tom Dempsey, the
So
guy with the half a foot.
No, that's Dempsey. But Al Fontenay was the guy that knew my dad. So we went to Mike Persia and got to meet the general manager, Tom Benson. And he gave me $500 for the car. I only paid $275 basically. So I made money on it. And then he said, I don't want it, you could keep it. So I had the car, I had both cars then. And my dad wound up selling it to somebody. And if I still had that car today, because the paint job was immaculate, and if I'd have kept it up in a garage or something, those things are going for $80,000 to $90,000.
Oh yeah.
I'd have loved to have still had it because that was a good car. The only thing that went wrong with it was, and it had to be just because of fuel. It was about every 6 weeks, I had to change a fuel filter because you'd be driving and it starts sputtering. So I'd reach in my trunk, grab a fuel filter, walk around with my two wrenches, take it apart, put a new one on, and then drive again. And I kept 2 or 3 of them in the car. But it was about every 6 weeks, I'd feel that little sputter in the engine. And that's what my cousin said. He said, it's not in your gas tank, it's the stuff you're buying.
Oh
It's
yeah.
from them. Because we checked out the gas tank and everything, cleaned it and everything. So he said, just carry one with you. It takes a second to change it. So I bought 2 or 3 of them. They were $1 a piece. I think I bought 5 and stuck them in the trunk.
What's
I
that?
had my trunk, the fuel filter. It was a big,
Oh.
big aluminum filter, about that long, about that big
Yeah.
around. And my trunk, let me tell you what I did in my trunk. This is when you could drink at 18, right?
Right.
And I was 18 when I got the thing. I didn't graduate till I was 19. My trunk, I went in there because what happened was about 6 weeks after buying it, they had a flood, and I slid down into a ditch. And I mean, all of my insides, everything was just completely water.
Right.
But the seats were vinyl, so it didn't hurt the seats.
Yeah.
So I pulled up the shag carpeting, pulled it all out, threw it on top of the car to dry for a little while. Then I threw it on the grass, and I went through and got all the water I could out. And then my cousin looked at me like I was crazy because I drilled 3 holes in each part of the car. And he said, what's that
Right.
for? I said, in case it happens again. Like, and he's laughing his ass off, right? He's like, I can't believe you drilled holes through your car. I said, in case it gets flooded again, it's going to drain out.
Yeah.
I ain't going to worry about it. So, and then it gave me a brilliant idea. I went in my trunk and looked in my trunk, and I measured how close the gas tank was. And I started drilling in my trunk, and he says, you got a gas tank under that. And I said, well, I'm using a brass, what you call it? And he says,
bit.
dude, if it slips and hits that thing, I said, it's brass. So, I mean, it was a big, like, ½ inch. So I
Right.
get it through, and as it starts to go through, I had 3 holes. And he said, what in the hell are you doing? Like that. I took an ice chest and lined it up on top, right? 2 of the holes I put bolts through. The other one I put a drain. So I could
Yeah.
drain it.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I don't understand what you're doing. Man, I filled that thing up with Boone's Farm, Strawberry Hill, and ice.
Oh God,
and,
yeah.
well, I was good to go. I'd go to the parties at school, at the houses, and they knew
Yeah.
I was, and all the parents knew I was the guy with the Galaxy with the wine. And they say, I don't care if they drink it, but they got to drink it here.
Yeah.
And if
I'll be right back,
you're
guys.
drinking, you can't leave.
Okay,
Be right back. I'm gonna grab some coffee.
All right.
Okay. But I had my ice chest in the back, and when the ice melted, I just pulled the plug, drained it, and put
Yeah.
more ice.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
pretty good deal.
Sickest I ever got from drinking was drinking at damn Boone's Farm. Oh my God, the Strawberry Hill. That was just
Strawberry Hill. My mama thought that the ice chest was when I went fishing.
yeah.
You know, that was a story I told her. I was sticking to it. She went in the back one day because I came back from fishing. She walked to the, I had the trunk open. She walks to the back and she goes, "Let me see the fish." And she opens it up and I got about 6 bottles of wine in there. And she, well, that was a good one. But she couldn't talk. She'd go out on Wednesday nights to the Monteleone Hotel and sit at the Carousel Lounge and drink. And she drove a 69 Ford Thunderbird, big 440 engine in it.
Oh
right?
yeah.
She's coming back home one night and she's in Metairie, there's a railroad track that is elevated. So you had to go up an embankment and then down the embankment.
Right.
And she comes back and thinks she's Evel Knievel. And she goes over this embankment, right? The back end of the car hits, knocks the whole back bumper off.
Oh my God.
She stops, walks out, gets it. My mom was like 5 foot tall. Picks up the bumper and puts it in the back seat. And then drives home and goes to bed. My dad wakes up in the morning, walks out. He don't see no bumper. He walks around, sees the bumper in the car, and he goes, "What the hell is this?" You know, he wasn't, but he said, "Boy, you're a stupid woman." She said, "Well, I knocked it off going over the train tracks, and I just put it in there so you can fix it later." But I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
She was driving one night and she was weaving in and out, and she stopped at a red light, and the guy standing there, she actually tapped him, and he said, "Little lady, you been drinking?" She says, "Yeah." He says, "Come on, pull over here in the parking lot. I'm gonna call the police because I don't have damage, but I want them to know." Like that. So she pulls over there. He walks in the grocery to call, and she leaves. She came home, just left him. There weren't many 69 Thunderbirds out there, gold
Yeah.
with a Ronald top, but nobody ever said anything. Yeah, my mom was terrible. You were living on the edge with her.
Yeah, my dad was like that. He he was a drunk. Not all the time, but quite a bit of the time, especially when I was younger. But he kind of slowed down, and well, he slowed down in his old age, except for a few times when he'd get around some of the family, and he was trying to outdrink the guys my age and younger. It's like,
Yeah.
old man, you can't be doing that. You know, it's just that simple. He was in his late 70s, or yeah, because he died. He was 83 when he died. So yeah, he's probably in his mid to late 70s.
Well, she didn't drink at home, but she'd go out to the Monteleone, and that's where she drank.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when I think about how many times I drink and drive. I mean, everybody did it back then, and somebody, every so often, you know, uh, there's 3 different guys in high school that died from drinking related accidents, and uh, and we all were, went to the funeral, and everybody was sad. You know, everybody would, kind of quit for a little while, and then come to the next big dance or party or something. There, we'd be back at it again. It's like how we kept from killing more people, and uh, there was a dad and his 2 sons. The oldest boy was from our class. When they went out deer hunting, they'd got him a deer, and they were on their way back home and missed a curve, and I just, it was never said, but I suspect that the dad had been drinking. Well, probably all 3 of them had been. Because, like you said, you could drink at 18, and they rolled the vehicle, and the oldest son, the one from our class, and his dad, they died instantly, or they died first and at the accident, and then the uh youngest, he was in the hospital in critical condition and in a coma, and I mean, we all went to the funeral, and a couple of us were pallbearers, but seeing his mom, she just, you know, she was devastated because she lost her husband and her firstborn, and she was about right on the edge of completely, you know, going over, you know, or mentally she was as far as she could go, and then about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, because they had a double funeral for this oldest boy and the dad, and then about 2 weeks later, the other boy died, so she lost her whole family, both her kids, and that that put her over the edge, and I think at some point I heard that she ended up committing suicide, so it was pretty devastating, but you know, still we'd go out and drink, you know, and just
Oh, yeah.
by the grace of God that uh, always, when I see some of these guys on the streets, some of these veteran stuff, I said, by the grace of God and the love of Judy is the only reason I'm not sitting out there with them,
Yep.
you know, or sitting 6 feet under, you know. Of course, I tell my kids, you know, don't you be doing that. You call me, I'll come pick you up. I may chew your butt, but I'd rather, you know, I'm sure you'd rather have a butt chewing than, you know, either spending time in jail or, uh, you know, I said, you drink, you drive, you know, if you're going to be drinking while you're out driving, you pull over, get your butt chewed by dad or mom, and we'll get you home safe. My mother always knew when I'd been out drinking. She'd wait up for me to come home at night, make sure I got in okay, and then stand there and, now I hope you haven't been drinking. No, Mom. I'm sitting there, you know, swaying back and forth. No. I hadn't. Just because you know how your dad was, and you know you don't want to turn out like he did. Well, no. And Mom, I'm really tired. I need to go to bed. Well, I just want you to understand. She sat there and lectured me for half an hour, and I just suffered trying to
Yep.
hide it. She knew. Yeah, she knew
Yeah,
I'd been drinking. She just,
she was paying you back.
yeah, and then then the old man would come in. It didn't matter if it was a Saturday or not. He'd come in at about 6:45 on, you know, 6:30 Saturday morning and start, you know, banging on the door and open the door. Say, son, you need to get up. We got to go do stuff. You know, and I'm waking up. I'm going, oh God, you know. But he always made as much noise when he woke me up as he could. Like, Dad, it's Saturday. I don't have to get up. No, we got to go do some things today. All right, okay. Yeah, they made me pay for it. Man, I just got up and around a little bit ago, and I'm already ready for another nap.
Well, I went to bed last night at 9:30. I was watching Bill's show.
Yeah,
9:30, I just shut it down. I
yeah,
said, I'm
we
going to
stayed
bed.
on. We were on for like 3.5 hours last night.
Yeah, it was a little over 2 hours when I gave up.
Yeah, it
Like
was
two and a half.
gone midnight his time when he finished.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had at one part where everybody was looking at the when you thought it was Mark's belly button.
oh
guys.
yeah,
Yeah, the roof. And when he came back, I was so glad he had pants on.
yeah. Well, when you left, Mark, your camera pointed to the ceiling, and I didn't, you know, I didn't have it zoomed in where I could see everybody real well, and there's two lights up there on your ceiling. I assume that's what they are. And they look like,
Oh yeah,
and then you have that, the drapery or whatever it is up on your walls or up by the ceiling where the walls join the ceiling. And it looked like, maybe ladies' pajamas. I thought, well, some gals joined us and she's standing there showing us her belly button and it was pierced. It looked like I'm sitting there going, finally, I just said, who in God's name is standing there with showing off their belly button ring? I just assumed we didn't see it, and then they said it was your ceiling and light. And after you came back and moved, I'm going, oh,
Huh.
because that's what it looked like. Somebody standing there and some lady was standing there and, because it could have easily been Alexis because she's not scared to, I thought, okay, why is it? I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but yeah, it was your ceiling. It's the way you put your camera down. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
STP fuel treatment. Remember that?
yeah.
That was something that we all did as teenagers, thinking we were going to get better fuel economy, and it was
Oh, yeah.
probably wasted $3.
Yeah.
We still got that. Yeah.
We might. I don't know.
Yeah. Fuel treatment and Red X was the other one.
A lot of the problem with fuel back in the late 60s, early 70s,
Yeah.
it's early to mid 70s is when they really started it, is, they started selling unleaded. And, some of the, I remember pulling in the station and somebody'd come out and, what do you want? Regular, or if you were driving a really nice car, ethyl,
Yeah.
and then it was like, you want regular, ethyl, or unleaded? Well, the unleaded was, it got to where it was cheaper, so everybody's putting unleaded in their vehicles, and then they're wondering why they were knocking and banging and
burning
you
their
know.
inlet valves out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And last night, the Fools of Misrule did their annual march in Covington, Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to shoot it, and I said, "Oh hell no!" It was like 40 degrees. I'm not going. Talking about a bunch of crazy people.